Homeless encampments often pop up in areas just like this one around the city. And as you can see behind me, there's no tents, but there's evidence that at one time there were people living here. You're about to meet a man that slept and lived in this exact spot. This is Mike. He's currently living in shelters and sometimes on the streets.
Not only do I have addiction issues, I got mental issues and stuff like that. I'm actually supposed to be on meds for bipolar, ADD, ADHD.
Mike says he hasn't been able to get the medications he needs to treat his disorders. He says that's one of the main reasons he started using drugs in the first place.
8 years sober off the alcohol, but when I relapsed on crack, I've been sober about 4 months.
During the time of this interview, Mike was sleeping in shelters. Often he finds himself living in doorways and tents in areas just like this.
This place has got, usually has a few more tents. People arguing and fighting with themselves, with each other, talking to themselves.
There are shelter services throughout Madison. Right down the road from where Mike was sleeping is the men's drop-in shelter. Fares is the manager. He says over the past few months the need has increased drastically.
We accept basically anyone. We're a wet shelter, meaning we allow guests who are under the influence of any possible substance imaginable.
Fares says his shelter does have rules. He says many struggling with homelessness have trouble following those rules.
A lot of our guests have dealt and still deal with a lot of trauma, so having, rules and structure is a bit difficult for them to abide by.
He says almost all the people that come into the shelter deal with mental illnesses, addiction, or both.
It's basically the thing that causes people to lose their housing, forget to pay rent, get evicted, whatever it might be.
Mike says those are the things that led to him living on the streets. And he says when you're trying to stay sober, get your life on track, living in homeless shelters can get in the way of that.
And I was hanging out with some people, and they had passed me the pipe a couple times. At first I turned it down, and on the third time it's like I was up in my head. And on the third time when they passed the pipe, I fucking took a hit, thinking one hit wouldn't kill me, and I was back to it.
Mike says he hasn't used crack for over 4 months now, but he says if he doesn't get the medication and mental health resources he needs, he has no idea what will happen to him in the future. Reporting in Madison, Cody Taylor, Spectrum News.